Focus.
Yeah, baby. Welcome to the Knowledge Drop by Focus of the Flowmo crew, peopledojo.com and Cypher Studio in collaboration this time with the one and only infamous Trades Show and Profo One. Profo is our guest for today's episode. We go back for a long time. An inspiring fella who hails out of West Coast and keeps it going with the footwork, but not just dance wise, making big impact in the scene in different ways. And we're gonna find out today about podcasting, about other things that he's up to. So let's get Profo on the call, yo. Let's do it.
Yo, what up? What's up, August?
Bam, welcome. All good, man. All good. Recovering from the Flomo anniversary. We had it last
Yeah. How
weekend.
was that?
Was an amazing weekend, really amazing weekend. All the things kind of complemented the whole big picture. Good parties, or a couple of battles, but nothing crazy. AZ concert on Sunday, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, cool things, man. Had a great weekend. Really, really good edition this year.
Hell yeah. Good to hear it,
You know
man.
how it is. It's gonna take at least a week
Oh yeah.
to be
I
back
had
alive
yeah.
somehow.
I had the Floor Gangs anniversary last month, so same thing. It basically took a week to kind of recover, and like I just didn't go on live or anything, or didn't do any shows because it was just like I need to I need to like process all of this and recuperate, and then I could go back to it. So
Yeah,
yeah, man, I understand.
show must go on, man. Couple of
Yes,
days, I'm
sir.
back on the road. Hitting, going to Belgium tomorrow and UK the day after. So it is what it is.
Damn. There you go. Man, you're traveling. I
How's the
mean,
Flow
you
Gangs?
it was
Yeah,
good.
yeah. How's the Flow Gangs anniversary?
This was one thing of what I pride myself in is that as an elder to be connected to the next generation. And what was really crazy was Doom, which is basically family with Dino. He won the fourth battle. And like when we had the first US Floor Gangs anniversary in 2018, Dino won it, right? The footwork. And then now years later, his stepson basically wins. So it's kind of like that
Ooh,
was dope. Doom won. And then and the winners were Elephant Graveyard and Cypher State, which is Jihad, who's in Cypher State with Dino and them. But Elephant Graveyard's a newer crew. And the great thing about this year was that top eight or I would say semifinals had no one over 30. So it's all like
okay.
really newcomers in the game, like from Canada, like Stray Path and yeah, like some of the other guys that were just from around. And it's just because I still battle, so what keeps me in the game is these young guys and girls that they inspire me. So it was kind of cool that they contributed back, like because I'm like frontline, I'm frontline. It attracted the younger crowd versus like the usual crowd. So it's kind of like I feel like the whenever I do a Floor Gangs USA anniversary, it's kind of like the taste maker. Like you can kind of see that's where they make their mark, and then from there it's this trajectory of like being on a bigger stage. So that it's kind of cool to kind of see that pattern. So that was dope.
Mm,
Yeah, spotting new
nice. I love
talent and
that.
giving them a chance. You know what I mean? Giving them a
I
chance.
love that.
Yeah.
We also had first time ever. We had kids battles on Friday just to kick off the
Oh
whole
yeah, how
weekend.
was that? Yeah, how was that?
Actually, this thing about that, like I was in Japan last November and I saw there what they
Oh,
call the Breakdance Dream Cup. So
yeah,
they made a
yeah.
whole tour around Japan, all the different cities, all the different studios, and the final event in
Right.
Kawasaki next to Tokyo, where I just did.
Yeah.
Now I was blown away by the talent and all the different like
Wow.
age groups and such. You could see like
Yeah.
6, 7 year olds do everything that the grown ups do.
Yeah.
So we got together in Finland, like shit, we need to make this happen. Like a lot of the big names in the like the current Japanese scene came from that route. You can see
Oh, oh
Shigekix
yeah.
and Ayane and all these
Yeah.
guys. They battled over
Yeah.
there in these competitions, and then they
Yeah.
stepped up to the international stages.
Yes. Yes.
So we got together in Finland with Vortex and Johanna, and we thought like we need to make something that takes like a spotlight for the next generation. So we make a
Yeah.
small tour. This was the second city right now. We call it the
Hmm.
Freshest Juniors. And
Okay.
then suddenly we had that was the most people that showed up for any part of the Flom anniversary weekend. We had more people in the kids battle than in the actual main event, which was
Yeah.
crazy.
That's good.
Yeah,
Actually, that's good to hear because I mean that's the thing that's obviously the future, right? Is like, I even say it's like it's not really about the next 2024 Summer Olympics. It's going to be about, if it stays, it's going to be at the 2028. And these
yeah,
these are the kids that are shaping now. And even like in Las Vegas, in America, that's the most concentrated of breaking schools. So, for instance, there's B-Boy Alchemy with Battleborn, there's BTR with J Soul, there's Zoo Logic, which is Knucklehead Zoo, and then the Full Force Camp.
oh
So, right there is
wow,
the most concentrated in America as far as schools. And they already started a shout out to Alchemy and BTR. They have a breaking league for the youth now. So
nice.
they have one monthly for this. They have a summer program, and then they're gonna have battles within the summer and air them on YouTube. And then at the same time, they have the schools, and they're gonna try to implement it in the Las Vegas school system to make it kind of like a basketball, like something like that. So that's the effort that
Hey,
ATN and J Soul are doing right now.
big up to them, man. And I
Yeah.
also heard in Helsinki there's schools battling school but rap battles.
Oh,
So
that's
that's
cool.
the generation that's happening right now. Like official
Yeah.
school versus school rap battles going down.
That's crazy,
New
man. Like
generation.
we definitely don't have that in America, but I remember when I went to Mexico in December, like they take it serious, they take this the rap battle serious. And it's like, whoa, like instead of thinking of like here it's about album sales and like Spotify
Mm,
streams, and it doesn't matter the content, it's just can you attract as many as you can, and I'm a winner. And it's not necessarily about skill, right? It's just
yeah.
what's quote unquote cool at the moment. That's just here in America.
But you're right about the different generation things. Like imagine if you're a kid coming into the scene right now, everybody's mad competitive and you go to the prelims, you never go through because everybody who goes through is like 25, 30,
Yeah,
35 maybe.
yeah,
And that gap is big. So we gotta, as
yeah,
promoters, as people who make jams, we gotta think about our next generation, our youth, try to make
yeah,
something like a stepping stone so that they can
yeah,
work their way up to the big
yeah.
stages.
So here's something I want to ask you, because, and this is no disrespect to the kids in America, and as far as that are breaking, but the truth of it is that there is a big disconnection with hip hop, with the 11-year-olds, with the 12-year-olds. Like they go to breaking schools, but then because now it's like gonna be in the Olympics, like there's this goal that's competition, right? Do you have any of those challenges in Finland as far as with the kids? Is there a separation to hip hop, or do you guys try to implement hip hop into at the same time as they're learning about breaking?
Yeah, that's a responsibility for the teachers, and it's easy to go for the fact that okay, let's try to work on the moves, and you're gonna want to learn your windmills or whatever. But
Yeah,
it's really the responsibility of the teacher. Like sit the kids down and say, "All right, listen up, guys. There's more to it than just the head spin or the flip."
right, right,
But
right.
yeah, I guess that separation is everywhere. Even
Yeah.
last weekend, look, we had an OG Helsinki DJ spinning at the after party, anonymous, who made like made some of the biggest parties in the 90s, early 2000s, brought a lot of MCs in the country, did the biggest record store or most important record store lifesaver in Finland basically, and then stepped away for a couple of years.
Hmm.
And now I had everybody asking me who's DJ Anonymous. I'm like, what's up, guys? This is the cool Herc of Finland. You shouldn't be having this conversation, guys.
Yeah.
We got people from Philly. Like Scheme was all hype about it that he got to play again after
Yeah.
16 years with
Right.
Anonymous. He's saying he's still listening to that tape in his car and such.
Right.
And
Right.
then I got Helsinki people asking me like, "Who's DJ Anonymous?" I'm like, "Ah."
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I kind of got the same backlash a little bit in Florida Gangs. I had Just Jones and Endo G and this guy Network. And I purposely didn't want the regulars, just because I wanted to have the hip hop club vibe mixing in battle. And yeah, I think a lot of kids were just like, uh, and we're not, and I'm not talking kids. I'm talking guys that are 25. They're just like,
Yeah.
they got thrown off, and that's where I'm torn. I'm torn on like, okay, do I give you guys what you want, or do I kind of go, this is how I came up, and these are the people I came up with, and I wanted to introduce you to that this sound and this style. So I'm kind of torn, and that's being just a businessman, right? Like, do I want my clients to be happy, or do I want to like, yeah, So
Educate
I
while
hear
you're
you.
at it.
Yeah, I hear you on that. So I hear you on that. I hear you on like, stuff like that, because that gap is like that everyone's used to, everyone's used to a flag mix. Everyone's used to like everyone's now the baby Keem flag flip or a lean rock. So it's just like, and I've heard some of the guys go, hey, I don't want to hear James Brown. I don't want to hear Just Begun. I'm like, damn. All right, I hear you. So yeah.
Yeah, we got our first comment from Wilson. Not all the kids are separated from hip hop, and
All
that's
right, then you're
100%
telling
true.
me.
There's
Okay,
a
Wilson.
handful, absolutely.
Okay.
Shout out to
Okay,
Wilson who came in
Wilson.
and won the
This
battles
is
on
your
Friday. So
generation,
big up.
Wilson. This is your generation.
That's what's
You better
up.
tell all your friends. Go when you guys go meet up. You better tell them, hey, it's not just all about the flag, the flip mix. And no disrespect to flag. You know what I'm saying? I love. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to do something different. Because it's a lot like competitions is a lot like the radio now, or how the radio used to be. If you
Hmm.
didn't hear a song, and I get it, it's just like the streaming, and this is in battles, is like top 40 now. And even though we used to think about that, and like for us older guys, they're just like, oh, that's that mainstream stuff. Breaking has this become like this kind of like, well, there's this mainstream and underground thing going on. And the more and more it's going on like this, and more of the events are bigger events go like this, these smaller events don't get as much, recognition. Actually, I think they get more recognition for guys like that are older like me and you versus like, someone that's like 18. They're kind of like still chasing the big stage, your breaking for golds, or your freestyle sessions and your Red Bulls. And we definitely have this symbiotic relationship that we still need to be cohesive with each other, even though our goals are different, like the community events versus like the future sports athlete events.
Yeah, it comes down to the responsibility of us so-called elders. I don't consider
Yeah.
myself elder, but I'm a little bit older than most of the guys who come to the jam. So we
Yes,
just gotta
yes, yeah,
sneak in the little cultural details anywhere we
yeah,
can.
yeah.
Our
I
current thing is
ca-
perfectly fine, but at the same time, if we lose everything that's been going down in the past, then we lose a big part of the scene
yeah.
and so big heritage. So we kind of had to be sneaky about it.
Yeah, yeah. Or I mean, like I said, or I would say it's like have both. Like if you could throw one of your big things and then at the same time throw a community event, like just to have a balance. And my main thing too is like why I'm on YouTube now, and is to actually shine media on events like that, or B boys or B girls. So like on Instagram, I do the Profo's picks because they might not necessarily be the breaking for gold types, or they possibly might, but they might not be on the Red Bull big stage. But I still give light to them because hey, you still have talent, you still have value. And if I could do it, if I could create my own multimedia company and shine light to them, why not? Because everyone else is getting the shine anyway. So, and it's like I think that's another reason why the kids liked me, because I'll do that for them. I'm like, hey, you know what? You're appreciated. And they're like, dang, I didn't even notice you noticed me. I'm like, well, yeah, it's like the cosign, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
dope.
yeah.
Lifting people that deserve it. Which
Yeah.
other things you have going on? You have the Profo's picks, you have the trades
Mm-hmm.
show.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain for the people who don't know your past or know your current things? What's going down right now with your content space?
Okay, the content space. So basically, I started the trades back on Facebook back in 2016. And the reason why I came out with the trades, to be honest, was on Facebook, everyone's arguing and typing about whatever they were talking about. I was like, but I don't know if they're saying it in context of how they're, I don't know their cadence. I don't know what they're emoting. So, because I could say something and someone's going to get mad about it, and maybe I'm not trying to be combative. I'm just giving an opinion. So I thought, okay, if I talk in front of the camera, that way you know where I'm coming from. And I don't like typing. I like to have conversation. So it started with that, and it kind of like went from there. Then I started doing interviews on Facebook, and then like around the COVID time, around the pandemic, I kind of stopped and concentrated on me. I got into the workout thing more. I got into jump ropes and stuff like that. So I concentrated more about me. And now that everything cleared up last year, and I had a few friends that do YouTube that have said you would be good on YouTube, and I'm like, I already do a show, but I was doing on Facebook and Instagram, and they're like, you should go and put it on YouTube. So that's what I started doing within the last year, and that's when you've seen the push again of just doing, like, I have the trades, which is now like more of an interview style, like just like this is the trades, right? This time it's like we're both asking each other questions, which is cool. I'm not used to. Um, and then I have another show called the Hip Hop Dark Web, and that's where I have like super nerdy researchers. So I have Pluto 7, who's like one of the guys that really digs in the weeds. I have Dr. Derek Cologne, who was raised in the Bronx and experienced it in 1975. And then I have whoever different guests. Sometimes I'll have Tamal from Carry the Culture on Instagram, or I'll have Tech from Save the Hip Hop Culture on Instagram, and we just go at it. Like our biggest episode was with track 2, because it was like, I didn't want to just have the nerdy breaking questions. These guys had different questions of like, what part of the Bronx were you in, and like that's what I'm saying, like what type of shoes you're wearing. Like they went in, and that was like the whole point of that, is to like, we'll bring a guest on or we'll have a topic where we just go at it and just like, I agree, I disagree, what was going on. So that's the Hip Hop Dark Web. And then now next week I'm going to do a reaction channel on the B-Boy Network, where I go live and I'll react to videos and battles that aired on the B-Boy Network. Because like with the trades, but I like the interview style with the trades. But B-Boy Network Reacts with Profo 1 is just me giving commentary and reacting to battles, So I think that's pretty fun,
Dope. And we had a question. When does the
Yeah.
Bebo Network show start up?
It starts next week. It's Monday, 5 p.m. Western time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that'll be live, and then we could do the whole thing like this. I interact with the chat, and just whatever Josh gives me, like, what do you want me to react to? I just react to and give my my opinions. So
Fresh.
that one's gonna be
I
fun too.
remember, for sure. I remember
Yeah.
seeing the trades in the first episodes, the early days, and it was ahead of its time in many ways. I think whole podcasting wasn't as big as it is right
Yeah.
now. Like the
Now.
whole
Yeah.
concept of a podcast was kind of new at that
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
how did you see it? Did you see it as a podcast or just a random thing that you guys hop on,
I
on front of a
I
camera and
well,
whatever
well
happens? Or
yeah. Actually, there was something earlier that me and my brother did called the Epicenter, and it was
the
this guy.
epicenter? I remember. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that was 2012. That's when we did that
that's
back
what
in
I'm talking
2012.
about.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
thinking they had a different
2012.
name back in the
Yeah,
day. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that was Romel, and he suggested it, and it was on Ustream. It was actually on Ustream, so it was pretty crazy. We had a whole staff, but it didn't work out. Then we did it here, and yeah, it just kind of like was that. I always looked at doing stuff like this as a show. Like it's like, even though it's freestyle, there's like this organization, like when I first did the trades, it was like 3 questions and then just feed off those 3 questions. Now it's more freestyle, but still kind of like more like I'll still have an intro. Like it's like, it was like, so it was like, it was, I guess it was early podcasting, but I just was just more like, I want to give my opinion on breaking, because why not? It's better than typing. and I'm a nerd about it, you know? Like I'm a nerd about it. So it's like I like to like listen to like, and these are the things, these are the conversations I had with elders or whoever, but just no one had a camera. So it's like, why not actually document it? And because now it's like part of like when you want to research something, the conversation, we could pull up the conversation versus like, remember that time and I'm talking about it. No, you could actually watch a video of just us, like for instance, us two having this conversation when we talked about the Flow More anniversary in 2023, and someone can refer to it. And and the DJ you just named. So it's more archival things because like back then, like what we would have a documentary maybe once every 10 years. Like the Freshest Kids is already 20 years old. And that's still like the main reference. And maybe Planet B-Boy, right? Like maybe Planet B-Boy is the newest of the documentaries, but that was still like 10 years ago, right? Not like maybe 12 years ago. So like like that's the thing. Like, I know like for my demographic as far as the long form, it's like honestly 45 and up is my demographic. Like that's just the truth of it. Yet you could reference it. For those who want to know, can reference these, they could reference your show for sure. Like, you've had Dancing Doug, you've had Skiing, you've had like, what I mean? And you had Carl. So it's like it's dope because now it's like, okay, now there's a reference that we can have versus the short TikTok, Instagram form, which I also do too, right? Like which is how I'll funnel them in to the long form stuff is through the short TikTok style. Like I'm starting a new one called A Moment in Breaking History. And I just had one about Robbie Robb doing the chair freeze. You know what I mean? So that will hopefully bring those people that are like that like curious about the long form. And I did it in a TikTok way. I put graphics and background and that way it catches the eye, right? Versus like when we're doing this, it's kind of like, shout out to you, Wilson, because I don't know how many like 13-year-olds are going to sit here and listen to two men just talk for 2 hours.
For sure.
Like.
And I agree. I think this is the number one reason why creating content is so important. We've both been through a generation. We've both been through a phase where hip hop history is just stories that you ask from people, that heard from people, or lived it themselves. And the sad thing is that we're not young no more, and a lot of the people older than us are not young no more. And it's like
Yeah.
a lot of those stories can be disappeared or
Oh
have
yeah.
already disappeared. So I think
Yeah.
that's why creating content is so valuable, that you get a
Yes.
reference point that you can always go back to and
Right.
use as a some sort of a proof if it
Yeah.
if it's the truth.
Yeah. And
So it's important
here's a
work.
great thing. Yeah, it's the great thing is too is that like as we interview more elders, there's gonna be different stories, and they're gonna say I was the best, whatever, whatever. But as many as we could like kind of like all the interviews we come up with, there might be this line of like where they all agree upon someone, and that's where it's like we're really digging, like we're really like archaeologists, right? Like we're really like going through it and see, okay, so maybe that's not true, maybe it's exaggerated truth, but at least it's like, okay, we find some type of middle ground, there's some truth there, you know what I mean? And that gives us a better idea because like as Pluto said, and I believe you are too, is we're researchers. That's what we are. We're researchers. We're researching, and like there's always new information coming up. And you know what? So we're never gonna be as researchers. Nothing's ever gonna be like this is the testament solid word. It's always gonna change. You know what I mean? And that's I like you already know. Like you talked to Dancing Doug, so it's like I just talked to Sasa last week, and to me that was like crazy. Like what the hell? But then now it's like because of these interviews that it's like there's starting to be a cohesive picture of how we got to now, right? Like there's a clear picture, like we could say 2000s to now, that's clear. But like 75 to about 81 is still kind of we're still doing like it's better than 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like the timeline than what we had 10 years ago, we had a guess. Now it's kind of that line is starting to come out, and I'm happy to be part of that, part of the people that are trying to, to uncovering all that.
Yeah, cool findings that you've been doing along the way? Like I saw the post about the footage from 1974, the
Yeah,
earliest breaking footage possibly
yeah.
ever
Possibly
out
breaking foot.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
tell the
Sasa.
people who haven't seen it?
Yeah. So basically, I found this clip 13 years ago, actually, and I was in the Philippines. And I don't know, I was searching, I don't know, funk New York City, and it was called it was Casablanca Records, which I believe is the same company as Kiss, the rock band Kiss. So they, I guess they produced or they distributed George Clinton's music. So this was a promo that was in New York. And I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh shoot, this guy does a, skate step or a strut, whatever the step that people call it, to a cross step or a Charlie Rock cross, knee drop, umbrella, parachute to spin up. I was like, this is it. This is like, you know what I mean? Like, there's footage of like, shout out to Emmanuel Fox and the Vault, who's like, I'll find some 1944 footage and, it's breaking, but it's not in context with New York City and the culture, right? Even though it's a promo, it's a promo for a George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic song. But when I found it, I was like, this, and then, I was just like, this is, he's wearing what looks like Chuck Taylor's of Pro Kids. He kind of has bell bottoms, like he's wearing like this is kind of might be, and then and later in the clip he's doing like backflips, right? He's tumbling. I'm like, this had to be some type of rocking to breaking thing, and I lost it. And then after a while, I just didn't. I lost it. And then as I came back on YouTube with the trades and had the hip hop dark web, I was like, let me try to look for this clip again. And then boom, it just showed up. I was like, this is it. And I was like, because you try to think like the earliest footage is the caravan footage, but this is like 1930s, 1940s. Like this has nothing to do with hip hop. This has nothing to do with New York City. This is just movement. That's human movement. This is culturally like the arrangement of steps he does is something that we could see today. And it's like, yeah, that's a B-boy. So I was just very happy of finding that. And when I showed Sauce, I was like, that was it. That's the move I flipped 40 times. I was like, cool. I was like, confirmation. All right, dope.
There you
You
go.
know?
So dope.
Yes. Yeah, man.
And the cool thing
So that
about like being connected to a record was that you actually get a proof of the year. If you find that record, you can
yeah,
see a
yeah, because
stamp
it
of the
said
year over
19
there.
yeah, because it says 1974 promo for this song. So it's like it's documented. So it's not just a
Wow.
guess. Like, yeah. So yeah, and I'll put that up on my YouTube again on my community tab if everybody wants to check that out. So
Yeah,
yeah.
everybody go and check it out. You can find it on YouTube and everywhere. In a perfect world, what would your content be like? Like what's happening right now? But let's say there was no limitations. You have all the time, all the resources in the world. What kind of content would you be doing?
I think I'd be doing the same content, just
Exactly the same.
maybe.
No budget limitation, none of that.
I mean, the budget would be like better camera, right? Like maybe I would use a different thing. I would have a staff to actually pull up a lot like the Joe Rogan thing, right? Like I won't be the one pulling up clips. There'll be someone else pulling up clips, and there would be an elaborate set where it's like now make it look nice, where it's like and multi-cam, so that way you can pan and and obviously someone recording the sound where it's like where I can't because I haven't put anything on Spotify yet. So something like that. Like I would have a staff. That's what would be the thing. And maybe locational, like which is like, go to an event and then pull people from the event and then just or kind of like have it in coordination with it. And yeah, and actually like just and fly out these guests. Like let's say I had a studio, I would fly out Sasa and talk to him in person, or fly out Dancing Dub or Beaver or whoever, fly you out and be like, hey, just come on. Instead of being remote. So that would be another thing. It'll be in person versus remote. So that's why
That
I
would be
would love to
amazing.
do.
So
Yeah, yeah, that, and you know what I mean? And then make it like a whole thing. Like, okay, well, since you're here, let's say I'm in San Francisco and the studio's in San Francisco. Since you're here, why don't you teach a workshop? So I get you work at the studio with City Dance Studios or something like that. And then make
yeah,
that a whole thing, right? Like I would set you up, maybe even throw a competition since you're here and have you judge it or lecture or like multiple things than just the actual dance, right? Or it can be educational. So that would be the dream right there, is to fly people out and have them make money and do the and do the show and yeah, have the whole thing. Yeah.
Hopefully things will keep growing.
Yeah,
And it
man.
looks like that. There's a definite possibility it will happen. So let's
Yeah.
keep this thing going while we add it.
Yeah.
Hmm,
For sure. For
cool.
sure. For
Any tips
sure.
for other content creators? Anybody who's dreaming about a podcast or simply hesitates to start
Okay,
making
so
content?
this is one thing that me and Ark from 808 Breakers, who's in Floor Gangs as well, we talked about this like a long time ago. When I first started meeting up with them, we talked about marketing strategy. And obviously for Ark, it has worked. Obviously for Hijack, it has worked. They listen to the things I've said, and it's very counterintuitive to when you were a b-boy coming up in the 90s or 2000s, which was keep it secret. Keep it secret. Don't show anyone your style. Don't, wait to, like you gotta keep it secret so you can just snipe them because they're not ready for what they don't see. I agree to that when there was 20 crews in the world and there was only 5 events. At this point, and I think you know this as well, like when I did the prelim judge at Silverback in 2015 or 2016, there was 900 101 guys, and there was only 3 ciphers, so that means 300 each cipher, 5 judges, but we can only pick 10 out of 300. And at this point, nobody really sucks. If you really think about it, no one sucks. Back then, there was like this gap. This guy sucks. This guy's on top. Now there's guys who maybe have not good top rock, but good footwork and power. Or there's guys that good top rock and power and no good footwork. But it's still like, this is the case. And there's 900 of them. How are you going to stand out? And I predicted someone like Nico Castro, Nico Spins. I predicted him back in 2016. I said, there's someone that's going to post on social media and put himself through social media. And it happened with him. He posted every day, got his followers up. Then he started passing prelims. That's where he got stuck, though. But he eventually found out how to navigate after getting past prelims because of his visibility in social media. And that's why I told Ark and Hijack this. And everyone else is like, nah, man, that's not hip hop. I'm like, you could say whatever, it's not hip hop, whatever. But 2023, I see it. I'm proof of it. I'm proof of it because most of the guys don't know my past. Most of the guys that follow me, right, they don't know my past crew. They don't know my past awards. They just know what I'm doing now. And as someone said, I'm only as good as the last thing I did. I don't rely what I did 25 years ago. I rely on when I did the battle I did Friday. I did a battle Friday. That's the last time I was good. So I rely on that. So I'm constantly creating. So the strategy is consistency online, and it's exposure, and it's self-promotion. And I have a joke like KRS-One was wrong. It's not skills. It is marketing and promotion. There's that one line, and which is like he says it's skills. It's not marketing and promotion. I'm like, I tend to disagree now. It is marketing and promotion because everyone is skillful now. Everyone. There's no one that sucks. There's no everyone's good, really, Okay. So I got to like what 10K Instagram, and that's not through my past, it's through my now. And it's only and here's the thing, I didn't have to do anything that I didn't want to do, like meaning like I didn't do any trendy things for my social media. I just kept to what I liked, I didn't have to put on dance to Drake to make sure that I got people to go to the algorithm. No, it was slow. It wasn't fast, but it was consistent. And so I didn't have to do anything I didn't want to do. And that's my suggestion to everyone. It's just like embrace your media because that's the thing that's going to help your visibility in these competitions. because with 900 people, how are you going to stand out, right? How are you going to stand out? Don't, and I'm not saying don't practice. Practice, like get your skills up. But then it's just like that's why there's fight promoters. They help promote. Why not do it yourself? Why not learn the skill set yourself? And that way it'll help you along the way in your journey, whatever your goal is too. You know, that's another thing. It's what's your goal is. You know, if your goal is to like win competitions, then you definitely need one. You know what I mean? I think even Red Bull educates their athletes and their influencers to, oh, you better learn this, learn how to do this because we need you to do this, you know? And so I would say that it's like we're in 2023. There's no such thing as underground, really. If you really think about it, everything, because now we have access, there's no gatekeepers. We're the gatekeepers. Nothing's really underground. It's just what's popular and what's not. That's what it really is. What's popular and what's not. So yeah, everyone work on that.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with Freeze from Sweden at the
Yeah,
time of Go School was coming up, and he was telling me about, and everybody in the crew, like we have to be really careful of not to overexpose ourselves. And we're speaking about this generation where there's not too many ill crews, and like you kind of want to stay underground to build that vibe and that legend and the rumors around your thing. But I was like, I have to disagree with that. I want everybody to fucking know that we're here to mean business, and and we are worked our asses off. So I think it's
yeah,
up to us to deserve the shine that we are
yeah,
like have been working so hard for. So at
yeah,
some point I felt like, okay, damn, I'm gonna just become my own marketing agency and own production company and try to make everything as high level as possible. So I'm gonna buy the better cameras, I'm gonna buy the good microphones and all, buy some lighting equipment, like learn the skills that it takes to actually present yourself in a way that you should deserve if you work
right.
really hard on your craft. Like if you
Yes,
work your ass off in the practice for years and years, decades, then why shouldn't all the other parts of your presentation be on point?
yeah,
That's something I
and
don't get.
yeah, and especially now where you know what, this is the truth, and this is experiment for anyone there, right? Do the same move, post it twice a week, your algorithm still won't get reach everyone, and no one will realize that you still did the same. You could maybe just change your clothes, do the same. No one's gonna realize it. That's how many people are out there, and how you're flooded at this point. They used to say, you know, you're 15 seconds of fame. Now it's like 2 seconds of fame. That's what it really is. So no one will even remember you doing something. They just remember that you were on, but they won't even remember the move half the time because they're bombarded with like 30 other clips. And once auto scroll got created, it was done for. Like no, everyone's gonna have short term memory. You know what I mean? Like that's just the case of it, right? So it's like I'm not saying repeat all the time. I'm just saying that there there's not really an oversaturation if you really think about it, unless you have like a million subscribers, which no b-boy has yet. Stas has a million subscribers, but no b-boy has a million subscribers, so there's no way you could oversaturate yourself unless you are like every going live every day and doing everything to like, you know, and still you're not going to reach your, you know, because the algorithm. So there, don't fear it. You know what I mean? Don't fear it because the right people will watch you, and that's what you want. You want the right people watching you. You want like your like minds watching you. You know what I'm saying? So like that fear is gone. Like yeah, there's too many practitioners at this point. I think Dancing Doug said that there's 30 million practitioners around the world. You're saying you're gonna oversaturate anything? You're barely gonna be seen, man, after with 30 million practitioners. You know?
Yeah, gotta give a shout out to Lorenzo, People Lorenzo, for being one of the kids that used to see just posting ill practice footage before entering any of the major battles, and everybody noticing like, damn, this kid
Yeah,
knows the formula.
yeah,
And suddenly he
yeah.
got like 100,000 people following his stuff, and then you
There you
start seeing
go.
him in major events. Like he made his breakthrough
Yeah,
before stepping on a big stage, and that's the other way around that we used to. But I gotta
yeah,
give respect that he's seeing the potential over there. He's simply working and grinding and making it happen. Big
Here,
up.
here, yeah. Here's the thing. You know what it really is. See, the thing is, I've said this before, and I'll say it in your podcast. That way, it has, so people can, because I think your students understand this. What social media is you're in the 1970s with your crew shirt on and your name on the back. Why? Because there's no cameras. So, if I went to a party and I saw a guy, he had an afro and he had a red shirt on. He did he spun on his head. I go to my boys, yo, I went to the Hevelo. I saw this guy spin on his head. Oh yeah, who was it? I don't know. He just had an afro and a red shirt. Fast forward 1977. Oh, I was at this jam and this guy had the name Track 2 on his shirt and he spun on his head. Track 2, let's go look for Track 2. You go to the jam, look, he has the shirt, Track 2. What do you think social media is? It's the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. That's why when people trip off social media, it's like, no, we've been doing it. It's been in this culture. You put your crew name, you put your name on your shirt. Same thing. Same exact thing. It's just new
Have to
technology.
agree.
Yeah.
Have to agree on that. And to add for the Lorenzo thing, not taking anything away, not taking any of his shine away. And then when you started seeing him in major battles, his battle skills started to step up. And now if you go against Lorenzo, it's like you're in trouble. Even though
Yes.
he started his career with the social media
Yes. Yes.
breakthrough.
100. Yeah, 100.
Shout outs from the Bolt, shout outs from Fox,
Yeah, I
digging
gave a shout
deep.
out to Fox earlier.
Yeah, that happened. All right, I dug up one clip about you when you were in Finland. Let's
Oh,
check it
oh
out in the
shoot.
clip
Let's go.
trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
That's one of my favorite clips, man. One of my favorite showcases right there.
2012, over 10 years
Yeah.
ago. And
Yeah.
I have to tell you that when I was watching this, I was right after I judged the dojo's footwork cup. You have a
Right.
global footwork battle going on. I
Yeah,
judged
yeah, yeah.
75, 76 different people entering the battle. This was the
Yeah.
clip number 77. And I was like, okay, this would have easily been in the people going through, and this is 11 years later. So it's
Yeah.
like, all right, you've been on this trip for quite some time already.
Yeah,
Any
man.
memories from that trip? UK
Oh,
champs, Nordic qualifier
oh yeah,
2012.
that was cool, man. Like I was hang out with you guys. I remember going to the park, just chilling. It was like a nice and sunny day. I didn't expect that in Finland. I was like, whoa, it's kind of warm out here. And nah, just good vibes with the crew, like good vibes with Hot, staying at Hot's house, staying at your house. Um, yeah, building with everyone. It was like, to me, that's like what I'm saying. Like I like it was a smaller event in some ways, but I like that because I got to know you guys better. You know what I mean? Like I got to know you guys better. So to me, that's what stood out, was like just the actual building with people. And I like events like that. I like the big events too, but I like events where it's like, where I get, because usually if you go to a big event, it's just like, okay, hotel, all right, after party, all right, cool, we're all hanging out, mingling and building. But then this one was more like I got to see you guys' neighborhoods. I got to like, like go to see like what you guys do when you want to relax. So it was kind of cool to like, it was like, because it felt like, because it was a flow mo thing. It felt specific. So it's like, to me, that's where I learned more about the people than just like when we go to the big events. It's like, it's a reunion with the big events, but this is what it felt personal. That's one thing I would say
Nice.
about that trip. It felt personal. And yeah, man, like it's dope because like I said, like you're in a country that's like, you guys like have a scene, you guys have impacted the world, but it's like a very small country. But it's like again, it's because I think sometimes it's good when you're when you're remote, like Hawaii. I feel like Hawaii is that now. Hawaii is that kind of the it place because of melting pot and the summer jam going there. Now everyone wants to go there because what art kind of built that kind of like that community of like okay, because once he used to be my neighbor actually. That's how he kind of got down with the
Oh,
crew. He used to be my neighbor. Then when he and he just gamed up when he was here. He gamed up. He listened to like he watched. He listened to all the mentors, and he brought that knowledge to Hawaii. And then and now Hawaii is like this place that everyone kind of wants to go to, like because it's just like, well, what's the vibe out here? It's not just that we could train. It's like no, there's a community out here. And I think that's what I would suggest, like just like for your like like just like for your event, like that just happened this past weekend, even for my event, just like and Radical Force. It's because of the crew and the community. It's not that we're winning all these crazy championships, even though we've won. These are things that people know that they can come and gather and be like, okay, I want to know what the crew's about. I want to experience that. And I think that's what I think more crews need to do that because, and I always have this joke, like, and there's truth to this joke, which is, once Nike comes in and there's a Nike team and then there's an Adidas team, crews got to reevaluate how their approach is going to be because you're not like even freestyle session last year in the finals, even those squadron ruggeds versus Red Bull, you still had two Red Bull people in the squadron ruggeds crew. So it's really Red Bull versus Red Bull. Like so, no disrespect to squadron ruggeds, but I'm just saying, like that's the future. That's what we're seeing in the major competitions. That
yeah.
it's
Embrace
just the
the
truth.
cruise that's still here and the
Yeah.
cultural events. Who knows if 10 years from now they might be gone. So if there's
Yeah.
anniversaries, local events, underground jams, it's worth taking that trip for and
Yeah.
supporting the people who throw
Yeah.
it. Might be a 10, 15 euro or dollar bill at the door, but at the same time,
Yeah.
those ticket sales are what bring out the scheme riches. Those ticket sales are
Yes.
what bring out the
Yes.
Torns and these guys. So
Yes. Yes. And that's what
not
I'm saying.
everybody
That's why
kind of
it's like
chipping in.
we have to concentrate on and just like the social media thing is that media right now, social media and the big media companies right now that are covering these events, they're covering it like I always say this, which is like there's two things. Like it's like we're very mirrored to skating in the 80s right now. Like you have the vert, and then you have street skating. Um, and the vert's like a Tony Hawk. We could say that pocket. Even Tony Hawk himself said, "I don't care about style. I care about tricks." He said it himself. I don't care about
Okay.
style. Street skaters care about style. You could tell because they still shape fashion. Street skaters shape fashion now, yet they've never won the vert. But the thing is, what street skating has that we don't have is they have the media covering them still. There's no media covering the street skaters are Cypher B boys. There's no media covering the Cypher B boys. And that's my goal, another goal of mine. I want to be the thrasher of breaking. Like, cover like the raw stuff, cover the guys that you might never heard of, cover like these are the guys that control fashion. This is no disrespect to Pocket, but no one's trying to dress like Pocket, just like no one's trying to dress like Tony Hawk. They're trying to dress like Stevie Williams. They're trying to dress like Gons. They're trying to so see what I'm saying? We control like you control the cool. Like the street guys will always control the cool. The difference is in breaking, we don't have any media control like covering the cool. And so I was like, I'll take it in my hands to control and cover these guys.
Until that's gonna change, it's up to us to keep making it happen so that
Exactly,
there's at least some sort of a
exactly.
record of the cool stuff going down in the scene.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's the thing.
Cool,
So
man.
might as well do it.
Yeah. Nice
Yeah.
talking to you. Nice talking with you after a little while. And you're always back. Welcome back to Finland.
Yeah, man. Let me know what's up. If I'm ever in Europe, man. I've been just so busy on like being out here, doing my thing.
Yeah, or in Radical Force, or in Hawaii.
Yeah,
Who knows
yeah,
without past
yeah,
cross?
yeah, yeah. Oh,
That's
yo,
what's up.
track
We got
two,
track
track.
two in the building. Big up.
What up?
We'll get you on the Knowledge Drop show one day
There
as
you go.
well.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
tuning in.
Get at him.
Okay. All right. But hey, Profo, thank you so much for your time. I had a great talk and I learned something myself, and hopefully the people tuning in also get inspired, maybe to create
Oh
some
yeah.
content and work on their skills.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate
Oh
that.
yeah.
Keep doing your thing, man. Your work is valuable.
Thank you. You too, man. You're killing it, bro. All
Respect. All right. Cool. Thank you.
right.
Peace. Catch you on the next one.
Peace. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And anybody else, head out to bboydojo.com for a free workshop and more ill content. And also check out trades on YouTube and everywhere else. Check out Profo One's social media handles where he rocks some of the different concepts that he was speaking about today. This is it, your knowledge drop and trades collabo show signing out. Peace.